The city streets were alive with morning sun, the air filled with the rush of footsteps, car horns, and voices calling out in every direction. But in the heart of that bright chaos, silence lived in the soul of a little girl. Her name was Arya, the only daughter of a wealthy businessman, and though her life overflowed with luxury, she had never once spoken a word. From the moment she was born, her voice was trapped inside her, a haunting stillness that no doctor, no therapist, no expensive treatment could unlock. Her father, Victor Harrington, had built empires from nothing, yet he stood powerless in front of his child's silence. The world called him unstoppable, but when he looked into his daughter's eyes, he saw the one battle he could never win. Before we go deeper, if you believe in kindness, miracles, and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. It helps us continue bringing you heart-touching stories that remind the world what truly matters. Victor's wealth could buy palaces, cars, jewels, but it couldn't buy Arya's voice. He tried everything. Renowned specialists from across the world were flown in, machines and therapies filled their mansion, but day after day, Arya only communicated with gestures, drawings, and her luminous eyes that seemed to hold words too heavy for the world to hear. Her mother had passed away when Arya was only 3, leaving Victor even more desperate to fill the emptiness that surrounded his daughter. He couldn't stand the pitying glances from relatives, the whispers at social gatherings, or the sorrow of seeing his child point at her throat and shake her head when other children sang, laughed, and played freely. One afternoon, as Victor's car rolled to a stop in the city square for a business meeting, Arya sat quietly in the back seat, staring out of the tinted window. Her eyes caught something unusual, a small figure moving swiftly across the plaza. It was a girl not much older than her face smudged with dirt, her clothes torn and ragged. She carried an old glass bottle filled with a strange golden liquid, holding it protectively as if it were treasure. Despite her condition, her eyes sparkled with a wild determination. Her name was Mira, and she lived a life opposite to Arya's, hungry, poor, and invisible to the world. Arya pressed her hand against the window, fascinated. Something about the girl's presence pulled at her heart, as if fate itself whispered through the dusty glass. Later that evening, when Victor stepped into an important building to finalize another deal, Arya tugged at the driver's sleeve and pointed outside, insisting with her eyes that she wanted to step out. For once, Victor allowed it. Arya wandered toward the fountain in the square, where she saw Mira kneeling, pouring a few drops from her mysterious bottle into the water before drinking. Mira noticed Arya's golden hair and spotless dress and immediately recognized her as someone from another world, a world she would never belong to. But when Arya shyly approached, Mira didn't run. Instead, she held up the bottle with a seriousness that seemed far beyond her years. Without words, Arya pointed to it, curious. Mira looked into her eyes and whispered, "This is no ordinary drink. My grandmother told me it carries hope. It gives voice to what's trapped inside." Arya didn't understand the words, but she felt the weight of them. Mira gently tilted the bottle, offering her a sip. The liquid shimmered strangely in the sunlight, glowing like melted honey. Arya hesitated, but something inside her, something deeper than reason, told her to trust this girl. She took the bottle, lifted it to her lips, and drank. At first, nothing happened. The plaza remained noisy with life, people walked by without noticing the two girls at all. But then, a burning sensation spread across Arya's throat. Her chest tightened as if something long imprisoned was clawing its way out. She gasped, clutching her neck. Mira reached out, worried she had made a mistake. And then it happened. A sound broke free. Weak, trembling, but real. A small voice escaped Arya's lips, a single word that no one had ever heard from her before. Papa. Victor, who had just stepped out of the building across the square, froze in disbelief. His daughter's voice, after all these years, rang through the air. His briefcase slipped from his hand as he ran toward her, tears flooding his eyes faster than he could control. Arya tried again, this time stronger, "Papa." She collapsed into his arms, her voice breaking barriers that doctors had sworn were unbreakable. Crowds stopped. Strangers gasped. But in that moment, only 3 souls mattered, Arya, her father, and the mysterious girl who had given her the impossible gift. Victor looked at Mira, and for the first time in his life, the proud millionaire bent down on his knees in front of someone who had nothing. He asked who she was, but Mira only smiled faintly. Someone who believed her voice was never gone. It was only waiting. Victor tried to repay Mira with money, offering stacks of cash and promises of a better life. But Mira shook her head. "I didn't do it for money. I did it because no child should live without hope." Those words cut into Victor deeper than any business loss ever had. He realized he had been throwing wealth at his daughter's silence, when all along, what she needed was belief, the kind Mira carried in her heart despite her suffering. From that day forward, Aria's life transformed. She spoke slowly at first, her voice fragile, but each word carried the beauty of a miracle. Victor never forgot Myra's gift. He searched for her endlessly, determined to give her the life she deserved. Finally, after weeks of effort, he found her sleeping under an old archway in the cold. He didn't offer her just money this time. He offered her a home, an education, a family. Mira was hesitant, afraid of stepping into a world so different from her own. But Aria held her hand, whispering with her newfound voice, "Sister." That single word sealed their bond. Two girls from opposite worlds became inseparable. Aria's laughter filled halls that had once been empty with silence, and Myra's kindness lit corners of the mansion that had never known warmth. Victor learned that true riches were not in gold or buildings, but in the power of compassion, the miracles born of faith, and the voices that rise when we dare to believe in impossible things. And so, what began as a simple encounter in a busy square turned into a story that would be remembered forever, a story of a mute child, a mysterious liquid, and the stranger whose kindness unlocked not just a voice, but a future. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps us spread more stories of hope, miracles, and second chances.